Hey, welcome back to our study, and we're looking at Genesis chapter 23, called this Greeting Them from Afar. And today's study is called Weighing Out the Silver. We're looking at verses 12 through 16. So, we kind of began looking at the haggling process here over this land between Ephron and Abraham, and so it kind of continues here in the next section, and in verses 12 through 16 here. Now, as you can tell from what happens next, Ephron is working a deal here. If we would have just stopped at verse 11, we kind of look like, wow, look at Ephron's being such a nice guy. He wants to give Abraham the land for free. That's amazing. But actually, Ephron's working the deal. He's working an angle here. And so is Abraham, honestly. He's got his own angle too. So Abraham is seeking to buy the cave, but Ephron offers it and the field for free. Why didn't Abraham just take it? Because the law of the land said that once Ephron died, his descendants could demand the land back. Since it was just a gift, it really stayed in the possession of that family. So it was almost like an indefinite loan, which though could be taken and matured at any point. So once he died, his children can come back and say, well, you know what? We want the cave at Machpelah. So we're going to take it back. And they had every right to do that. So what Abraham is doing here is he's seeking to establish ownership of the cave. And Ephron knows that. He knows that. That's why he's playing that angle there. He's like, hey, just take it. You can just have it. Knowing that eventually the land would come back probably to his family anyway. But once he sold it, that's a different story. So Ephron basically said, you want the cave? You have to buy the field too. So he's like, oh, okay, if you don't want, that's the idea. He's trying to sell this property now. So that's the angle that Ephron's got going on here. He's like, you can see the two guys like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I see where you're going with this. You want that cave? Well, guess what? I'll just give the cave to you. And you can have the field too. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. I want to buy the cave. And then Ephron's like, well, you got to buy the cave and the field. Well, how much you want for the cave and the field? It's like, you can kind of see this selling, these two guys working these angles, trying to get what they want. So Abraham comes back in the story here, and he says, okay, name your price. What do you want for it? And Ephron drops a number. He's like, 400 shekels. 400 shekels of silver. Now, it's hard to figure out exactly how much this is, because we really don't know. How much, Moses, in the text itself, it says that a shekel is according to the weights current among the merchants. So he's saying that it seems like it's a lot of money, right? Now the thing is, since Moses makes that note in there, he's saying it's a shekel, which was a weight according to the merchants at that time. And so he's even saying that the shekel is different in his time than it was back then. So does it mean that it was less? Which most people tend to think that, because otherwise it's a ton of money. I mean, he's talking a lot of silver, and it seems like an outrageous amount of money that was going to be handed over. Now, even in Moses' time, it's a ton of money. So no matter what, however you figure out the shekel, it's still a lot of money. It is at least what the property should cost, right? It's at least that, if not a decent amount more than probably what it would actually cost to own. So, however we work out the shekel, there's debate over that, so we can't know for sure. But it seems like it's a decent amount of money. It's at least what the property costs. So maybe Ephron, since he drops this number, maybe Ephron thought that Abraham wouldn't pay it. But Abraham does. He's like, okay. He doesn't even haggle on the price. He's not trying to get it lowered. He's not saying, well, that seems pretty steep. How about this? He doesn't go into negotiations here. He's just like, okay, let me go weigh out the silver. So Abraham, I think it's because Abraham doesn't want any future legal claims from Ephron's descendants on the property. Again, this is the law of the land. If you haggle down the price, then his descendants later on could come back and say, well, see, he didn't pay the full price that was asked. And so we have still a right to claim this property back. So Abraham is trying to remove any kind of doubt that this is going to be his land. He's satisfying all of the laws of the descendants of Heth there that they had at that time, all the laws that are the Canaanite laws at the time concerning property. So he's making sure, he's going to go weigh out that silver. He's going to make sure that every piece is there. He's going to make sure all that silver is there, because that's going to secure, it's going to guarantee that this is his land. It's the first piece of the promised land owned by Abraham and his descendants. It's the very first piece. This field and this cave are the beginning of this promise. Now, the full promise that he would own all that land is there, but he's greeting it from afar, right? He's hey, promise, how you doing? You know, it's right there. The possession has started. So it took a long time, right? He's over 100 years old, and he's been in the land for like 60 years now. So it took that long for the promise just to begin, just to greet it from afar. It took that long. So that should make us think about promises that God's given us. You know, we always want them like instantly. I want what you gave me. I want what I'm owed right now. You know, we're like the older, or like the prodigal son. Just give me what you owe me now, and I'll just go spend it. God says, nope. It might take you 60 years, and then you might even greet the promise from afar. But the promise is happening. It'll be fulfilled. It just is. Might take longer than what you expected. Might not happen in your lifetime, but you'll greet it from afar. You'll see inklings of it. You'll see little pieces of it. You'll own your own little field and cave, but you don't own the whole land. But the promise goes beyond you. And that's the thing, too, about God's promises. They're beyond us. You know, we want them all to focus in on us, but they're really not just about us. You know, a lot of the promises are for the church as a whole. And so sometimes we get everything, we take the promises of God, just focus them upon us, which is not the best thing to do, you know, because they're really extended out to everyone. The promise isn't just for you, it's for everyone. And so sometimes we greet pieces of it from afar. We only see little bits of it. But yet, you know, that's more than what we deserve. It's more than anything we deserve. So, yeah, think about that this week. Think about that today as you contemplate, as you meditate over this, over these verses about what it means and what Abraham's doing here. You know, he's securing the future, leaving a legacy. And that's what he's trying to do. So come back next time. We'll look at verses 7